All right, it is 5 o'clock, so I will call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee to order, starting with attendance. Elder Ackley? Here. Elder Feldy? Here. Elder Flicky-Paneski? Here. Elder Barella? Chair is here. Let the record show Elder Barella is here as well. We have a 5 out of 5. Will you all please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, then barring any objections, we'll jump over item number 4, introductions, and move on to item number 5, which is approval of the minutes from our June 27th meeting. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Minutes are approved. Next up is item number 6, which is resolution number 36 of 2223, a resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the documents necessary to purchase an ambulance from American Response Vehicles Incorporated for the Sheboygan Fire Department and to make other purchases necessary to equip the new ambulance. Chief.
Thank you, Chair. So in the CIP for 2023, this ambulance purchase was approved. However, due to the cost with supplies, the chassis especially, the vendor was going to increase the cost of the unit by 7%. So it would have brought it to a cost of $375,407. So I'm asking for permission if you approve to purchase the ambulance, but no money will be exchanged. So just like lock in the contract so we can place the order at our price of actually saving $1,800. So it should be on your document, the $340 and change, or $350 and change. I'm trying to get the exact amount, but $358.48. So that's what I'm asking your permission for. Nothing will be exchanged as far as money. It's just locking in the price, and we can get the chassis ordered and get the ambulance approved.
Questions or comments? Elder Flicky-Paneski?
Thank you. Can you explain why we go to Texas to buy an ambulance?
So yeah, sure. The HGAC is like a consortium of vendors that apply to become part of this consortium. They're approved by the feds in the state. They fill out the application, meet all the criteria. So then you don't have to go out for bid because they are part of, basically they go to bid to get into this consortium. So the state and feds have some guidelines that they must meet. And then now you don't have to, it saves us a step. So we don't have to open it up for bid. We can go through as long as they're part of this consortium.
And does the state periodically determine that this is the best consortium to purchase from?
So that I cannot answer. I don't have that information in front of me. I tried to get that for, but unless the attorney can answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so under state statute, there are multiple consortia. Under state statute, there are certain guidelines that have to be met in order to be included in this exception to the bidding law. And this is one of those that is currently in compliance with the state law as determined by the state administrative code, which keeps up with which of the consortia that are out there are allowed to be used.
Great, thank you.
I have another one.
Go ahead. Do you have one more?
I do have another one. I actually did scroll down through the contract, and we have language that talks about published options and not published options. So the vehicle costs $187,000, and then we have $93,000 of options and $63,000 of options and $34,000 of options. Some of them are published and some of them aren't. Can you talk to me about options?
So Some of them are standard with the chassis you get. So this chassis is a Ford chassis. Other unpublished options are, for example, our stretcher, our cot, power load. So that's one of the features. It's basically when you buy a car and you add little ancillary items on there, the cost goes up. So this is basically the same way. There are certain things that come with that chassis we can't change, or the vehicle in the box itself from this vendor, and there's other things that we add. This power load that you see on here, that's one of the options that we got, and it's to hopefully prevent back injuries. One injury, and you're out 6 to 8 months, if not longer, depending on the severity, and that cost by workman's comp and all that, it just drives that individual's cost up. So we're hoping that this power load system will prevent that. That's just one example of the published and unpublished. There are certain things like lights. Those are all part of the published. They're the emergency lights, the features that we have to have on there for our responses. So those are some of the explanations between an unpublished and a published item. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. We will use many of the items that from another ambulance. We'll try to transfer it over. So again, this ambulance here, we're hopefully going to sell at auction the old one once we get this new ambulance. So we can transfer some of the equipment over that's still used. Some of it we can't because it expires, so we'll have to purchase new, but that's all part of the cost. So we shouldn't see any additional costs for this purchase.
Thank you.
Administrator Wolf?
Thank you, Chair. Chief, can you maybe tell the Finance and Personnel about some of the most recent issues that you've had with some of the older units? I believe you've had some that have been taken out of service for a period of time.
Yeah, thank you, Administrator Wolf. So yes, for sure, they're just getting older. These ambulances are, they were purchased, in 2012, rechassied, or remounted, I should say, but they're failing. So we have 4 ambulances right now, and we're down to 3. For about 2 weeks because one was out. As soon as we got it back, the other one went out. So it's been in and out of service, not the same vehicle, but our ambulances. So they're getting older. For example, this one was just out with our air conditioning. We didn't have any air conditioning in the patient compartment. We can't transport patients in the summer, especially without AC, because it gets so hot back there, especially if they're having heat stroke or heat exhaustion or anything having to do with the heat. We're not unable to cool them down. It's just not safe. So anyways, those are just minor examples. They're failing a little more just because of the age. So our hopes is over the next few years that our ambulance stock will be changed and newer and will outlast the issues that we have now, and decrease them. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
I move to approve.
Otherfelder, did you have a comment as well?
No.
Okay. All right, in that case, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes.
Thank you for your support.
Next up, we have item number 7, which is a direct referral of RO number 37 of 2223 by the Finance Director submitting a report to the Finance and Personnel Committee regarding the progress of the Carlson-Detman compensation study. Director.
Good evening. Thank you. As promised, we are giving an update every Finance and Personnel Committee meeting moving forward on the progress of the compensation study. Today, I don't have too much of an update other than on July 25th, so 2 weeks from tonight, Patrick Glynn from Carlson-Detman will be here at the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting. I have sent out an invitation to all department heads and all of council to make sure that they are aware that he will be here to discuss and answer any questions. Earlier in that day, he will also be meeting with any department head that requests a meeting. So I did send out an email to all department heads related to that. We do have some emails that have come forward, so we will be scheduling those as we can. We are also looking at having an HR consultant come in for that day who works with a different branch of a consulting firm so that she can be kind of the HR background professional at those meetings to assist with any department head questions and be kind of the go-between person for the consultant and department heads.
Questions, comments? Alder Perrella?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I actually appreciated the summary also that was provided for today. And how many department heads have responded as of today, since you gave the due date of tomorrow?
Yes, so I have 3 more department heads that have responded at this point, and I believe, so I think we're up to 7 positions that have been requested to be reviewed so far.
So 7 departments came back to you and 7 positions are in, no.
So if we've got 4, so 7 department heads did come back and respond. 3 of them said that they did not need meetings to review any positions, but with the 4 that have requested meetings, we're at 7 positions being requested to be reviewed.
And the meetings that, I believe you said that already, but I missed it. So the meetings with the firm will be, Patrick will be coming for the evening to meet with our committee, but he will come that same day to meet the department heads?
Correct. He will be
Okay.
here at 10 a.m. that day, and we'll be meeting with department heads at scheduled meetings throughout the day. And then we'll also have a HR professional in those meetings as well.
And will be, may I? Thank you. In addition to the department heads, there will be other people meeting or just the department heads?
At this point, we're just doing department heads. The department heads, Administrator Wolf and I will be in the meetings. This is really the first chance for the department heads to advocate for any employees that they think are on the scale in a wrong grade. So we want to make sure that we have those discussions before we have any discussions with individual employees.
And do you mind sharing which departments those are?
Sure. So far we have, now this is all from memory, so municipal court, planning and development, IT, and, put me on the spot, fire department. Thank you for the hint. But I have not received responses from several of the larger departments, so I'm assuming they will send something over shortly.
By tomorrow, right? That's what you're saying, yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Alder Flicky-Paneski?
Thank you. I would just like to second my colleague's observation. This is a very nice report that is a continuation report, and these are the kinds of things that I personally appreciate, and I think the committees and councils appreciate these kinds of things with ongoing processes because it makes it so clear. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this one? If not, thank you. Oh, sorry. We want to file it, okay. Alder Feldy?
I know one of the requests was to wait until we had someone, had hired a finance director, and I don't know where we are in that process, but I do want you to keep moving on without that person, because Caitlin, you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. And we are actually giving an update shortly, and I shouldn't say we, Todd and our HR consultant are going to give a HR director update to the committee today, but I do appreciate your kind words, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we'll be looking for a motion to file unless there's any other discussion.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, the motion passes. We are on to item number 8, which is General Ordinance number 6 of 2223, an ordinance increasing the room tax permit fee to $100. Thank you for the short title, that was easy.
Thank you, Chair. So this document, as you stated, is to raise the operating permit for room tax properties that collect room tax in the city from $20 to $100. And this came out of a recommendation from the Sheboygan Area Room Tax Commission, which is made up of the 3 municipalities, the city of Sheboygan, the town of Wilson, the town of Sheboygan, and two hoteliers, one representing Pride Hospitality, which has 3 hotels, and Blue Harbor Resort. And the reason for the increase is when the ordinance was originally when the Room Tax Commission was created back in 2018 as part of the state statute changes in 2017, that required us to partner up with as a zone and bring in the entities that a traveling tourist sees as the area. So at that time, there was a ordinance passed by the 3 municipalities to continue the room tax fee at 8% and charge $20 on an operating permit for each entity to get the permit on a yearly basis. That, in talking with the city attorney's office, there was really no other people to compare to at the time, so the $20 made sense. As we move forward, as you know, the council, previous council had approved a resolution to contract with a company called Host Compliance, which is going to be helping the city in collecting room taxes from short-term rentals. And the cost to do that is about $25,000. So the raising it to $100 is really to cover, we can't make money off this, but to cover the cost of this software to this company to keep track of it. So there's 231 short-term rentals in the city of Sheboygan today, and there's 12 or 14 hotel bed and breakfast properties. So this would collect about $24,000. I think our total contract with Host Compliance is about $24,800 and some dollars. So it's very close to the cost that we're going to have into this software. What this software will do, and once this hopefully gets implemented and gets to the live point in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be sharing more information with the Finance and Personnel Committee at that time, but the software will track these short-term rentals and all of the rental properties. It'll send letters, and it'll keep people current, so they'll be able to go to an online portal to pay their quarterly room taxes to the city. That will ultimately get funneled into an account by the finance department through a credit card payment, and then they'll just keep after them and have them make sure that they're all permitted and that they're all paying the quarterly taxes. And there'll be a record in that software that if they're not paying and the city wants to take it forward through some type of legal action, we'll have all the documentation in place to do that. So this is really the raise of this, the increase of this is really to cover the costs related to this software, because we have the short-term rental thing is spiraling, and a number of you call me continuously about constituents running these short-term rentals, and there's nothing in state statute that allows us to regulate them. We can only really charge fees to them. So we can charge the room tax under state statute, but we can't regulate them under zoning per Act 57, I think, in 2017, under the Walker administration, precluded us from doing anything further with them. So this is where we're at this point, and we're just trying to cover our costs of doing business.
Alder Fleck-Ivaneski.
Thank you. So if the room tax entities are the city, Kohler, and Falls?
City, the town of Sheboygan, and the town of Wilson.
So will this program track Town Wilson and Town Sheboygan also?
Yes, it will get there. We're doing it in the city first. And then going forward, there'll be some type of an arrangement put together that will either the Room Tax Commission will take it over, or somehow there'll be some figuring out how to deal with it in the town, because there's a lot of short-term rentals in those areas as well.
Okay, I'm thinking prorate the cost in terms.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
Alder Perella?
Thank you, Chair. These are just who does that apply exactly? So it's like the Airbnb type of,
Yes.
or also other type of venues?
So host compliance has told us that there's over 60-plus marketplace providers that are doing, like Airbnb, Verbal, Expedia, all of that. There's 60 of them, and their software scans all of those, and they can see what the stays are and what the rates are, and they can calculate out what should be paid for under room tax, either through the organization or directly to the city. So they'll be able to weed out what's there and how much they should be paying to pay their fair share of the room tax.
So host compliance is just a software?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Feldey?
Chad, if we're purchasing this software, is it a yearly purchase or is it,
It's yearly.
so every year we're going to be paying that
The
$23,000
$25,000 is the cost to have the software on a yearly basis.
every year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Flicky-Pineski?
So do we anticipate we will be collecting more room tax when all of
Yes,
this
we anticipate
goes?
that we should be collecting between 300 and 500,000 more in room tax,
Thank you.
which under statute, 70% goes for tourism promotion and tourism development to visit Sheboygan or to the Room Tax Commission, and the city retains 30%.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. Thank you. Next up, we have item number 9, the hiring process update for the Director of the Human Resources and Labor Relations Department.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Chair.
Wolf.
Thank you. I'm going to be introducing Michelle Stokes of HR Pro Consulting LLC. She is the professional that's been assisting us in our HR department and working with our different department heads. So Michelle, if you'd like to give the update, that would be great.
Good evening, committee. I apologize that I have technical difficulties and my camera is not working, so I hope you all can hear me at least. So I'm the human resource consultant that's been working with the city on an interim basis. And I've been conducting the search, working with the team to work through this, and I'm just going to give you an update. So we posted the HR director position on June 7th, and it is currently posted on government jobs, diversity jobs, Recruitis, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, and all of those are through NeoGov. It's also listed on the CIVMIC website and on the League of Wisconsin Municipalities website. To date, we have received 7 applications. 3 of those applications were out of state, and nobody in those out of state applications had municipal experience. 1 more of those applications was not qualified as well. I've had 3 telephone and or in-person interviews with candidates. We have 1 person coming back for a second interview on the 15th of this month, and then we have another person for a first in-person interview on the 26th. We have a panel that's helping with the interview process, and that panel includes Administrator Wolf, myself, Police Chief Demagalski, Director David Biebel, Director Chad Pelschik, Director Caitlin Krieger, Director Garrett Erickson, Jackie Bratz, and or Deb Hoffman from the Human Resources Department of the City of Fond du Lac.
Are there any questions from the committee?
Alder Perella?
So you're going to have the second interview and then, so pending, there is only a second interview coming up soon, and then there is a first interview coming up soon.
That is correct.
So basically two potential candidates at this point.
We have also one other candidate that we are interviewing as well, or that we just had a first interview with. So we have 3 candidates that are possibilities right now.
Okay, and do you have a feasible due date in mind? Do you think you will be able to finish by the end of the July? And are you going to do you plan for a third interview?
I believe our second interviews will be sufficient. Then we'll meet as a team to talk about those interviews and then make a determination going forward. Unfortunately, scheduling is very difficult for both the team and for our candidates. With the summer, we've had some vacations and timing. That's why the last candidate is not even scheduled for a first interview until the end of the month. I would expect that by mid-August, we will have a decision and hopefully an offer if one of these 3 candidates is our person. Then I would expect that person would need to give at least 2, potentially 4 weeks notice, given the level of role that they may be at currently. So I would anticipate we're looking at the beginning of September to the middle of September for a start date.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, now this one does not need any action, so we'll jump to item number 10, noting our next meeting is July 25th, and just one more reminder that we'll be having Patrick from Carlson Detman in to discuss the wage study that day. And with that, we have exhausted the agenda and are looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.